So hello and welcome to the New Gig podcast. I'm your host, Glen Hodgson, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Claudia Wagner and Nicola Scagnolari, the founders and CEOs of the model booking platform, UBooker. It's fantastic to have you both on the show. And I'd really like to begin by just hearing a little bit about your stories, how you came to this point and what made you found UBooker.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yes, so how did we start this? Very, very easy. I have been a model for 20 years myself. I was signed with big agencies like Ford, Elite.
Yeah.
I lived in Paris for a while, then New York. And so 20 years in this industry is a very long time. That doesn't really exist anymore today. Nowadays,
Right.
girls have a very short career span.
Yeah.
And so I really saw the change of our industry, that was happening with, analog photography moving to digital photography that changed everything in our industry. So there was a need of, a whole lot of content instead of, having 2 seasons and shooting 2 campaigns per year. The rates changed tremendously.
Yeah.
Models were paid really a lot of money for the work they were doing. And this is, I think, what the public still thinks, that it's very glamorous to be a fashion model and that they're paid a lot of money. But the truth is today, models don't make that much money anymore. And the traditional agencies that still work with a system that is 60 years old have really not adapted to the change that has taken place in this industry.
Yeah.
So I think me traveling and working a lot with my clients, and I've always been very curious as a person. So I would, I had regular clients. I would ask them and see what their problems were with agencies. Why they couldn't book me. Sometimes I was just asking, why are my payments taking so long? I worked for you 3-4 months ago, and here I am again, and I still am not paid for my last job. So I started asking questions, and I saw that clients had a lot of pain points, a lot of things that they really didn't like about working with agencies. And I also saw, when I was doing castings or working with other models, that they were not very happy. And obviously, people were talking like, I'm still not paid. I mean, it's always the same kind of issues we're facing.
Yeah.
So, I just started to talk to a couple of people and said, why don't we try to change this? And just instead of complaining about, what doesn't work,
Yeah.
it's inefficient, it's intransparent. And, but of course I needed help with that because I knew that business very well.
Yeah.
But I don't know business. I've never had a business. I don't know how to, didn't know anything about tech at that time, so this is where Nicola came into play.
Yeah, well, I mean, really, I think Claudia gave a very good explanation how this thing started. She started thinking about it probably quite some time before, actually, that, we decided to do this endeavor together. And I think when the time was ripe, we thought the technology was there for it. And there was a certain customization of people using technology with the Uber, with all the things that people are now using. Then we thought maybe this is a good time to do it. Also because we thought if we are not doing it, somebody else will do it eventually.
Definitely.
And so it was a good challenge. Now I didn't come from tech either though, and that was a big problem in there. So we managed, but I did come from business, and I came from the same industry on the other side. So I came from fashion.
Yeah.
I used to run a pretty big Japanese denim brand in the United States, and so I had some experience in business, and also on the other side while booking models for fashion shows, for photo shoots, and lookbooks. So I knew the industry quite well.
Yeah.
Claudia obviously went through the painful activity to explain to me all the ins and outs, but we understood it. And so at that point, it was really a matter of understanding how to put this down into a business logic that will work automating certain processes, but without being too far away from what the system was, because otherwise I think we would have much higher barrier to entry because our system is quite mimicking what the traditional system is. So we took the agency flow and we made sure to try to replicate that as much as possible. Now, this is not necessarily going to be the same forever, but I think we did the right choice making that as a transition, because it's already very difficult to come in with a new technology. And if you do come in with a technology that is very far away from what people are used to do in an analogic way, then obviously you make your life complicated. So we took models, clients, start speaking with them, understanding how this could work. And we basically managed to build the product, and it took a long time, and it's still underbuilt. And then this is the reality. But we started in 2017, we launched, yes.
Excellent. And the change over that time, I mean, you talked about there about sort of defining some of the pain points that both models, but also the brands who were booking the talent that they needed were experiencing, and addressing those, and actually sort of using a platform that can make things easier for them as well. Tell us a little bit about how the platform works. How do sort of models and companies both sort of offer the talent and find the talent that they need?
So basically, yes. I mean, you said it. We are a marketplace that allows like fashion, lifestyle, beauty brands to find and book talent. So talent for us that means models. We started with models, purely with models, but now also have influencers, because a lot of brands obviously are asking for it. So what we do, it is not the Wild West in UBooker. So it's a curated platform. Just because obviously the fashion industry is a very snobbish industry, you know, they want to see the right people on the platform, obviously. So we do vet both models and clients. We do not develop any talent. That means we only take models that have experience. On the other side, we have clients. Obviously, we also vet the clients. So they would ideally register with us. Let's say, you know, a big fashion brand will come and say, okay, we would like to book models here. So we'll have a look to see, you know, who are these people? Are they really who they say they are? Because obviously we want to avoid some stranger or some person that, you know, pretends to be somebody signing up and ending up booking a model and, you know, putting people in a delicate situation.
Definitely.
So what they do is basically the same thing they will do with a modeling agency, but just much more streamlined, I would say. So, you know, if they know, okay, I need, you know, 2 models for a shoot next week, they can just, you know, create a job. They can filter and search for models, and then they will immediately see which models are available that fit that criteria around them. Can click on them, send an option request. The models have the UBooker app, so they will receive this immediately on their phone.
Understand.
Instantly. Hello, this brand would like to book you next week for a shoot in London. This is the rate. This is what's in your pocket. So this is all very transparent. That step is missing in the traditional agency. Okay, so I don't really know what the client pays oftentimes. Or even if I'm told what the client pays, that's often not really the case. And then basically we charge 10% to the client and 10% to the model once this transaction is concluded. So that's a huge amount of money saved on both sides.
Absolutely. And it's open and transparent, because as we know, this is a sector where there's a lot of there's a lot of shall we say vague contracts, and you know, you can have agents who have been known to be taking 30, 40, 50% of the fee in a booking fee within this as well. And you mentioned late payments as well, so you're making this more efficient and also better for everyone involved.
It's more efficient for the client for sure, because the ancient system was really like Chinese whispers. It's a client calling 6 agencies. They send, you know, a selection back. They select who they like. They send it back. So it can take days to make a selection. So, I mean, time is money today. People have to produce. People have to drop their stuff online, sometimes in the same day. So this is really a really important point for the clients. And then for models, the important point is, okay, I get 90% of my money onto my bank account within, let's say, 7 days after completing the job, as opposed to I wait 3 months to be paid and I have to chase my money and I get 50% sometimes of what I'm owed in the pocket. So this is also one of the reasons we understood that this market was mature for disruption. The fact that the middleman in some countries, not in all countries, but in Italy, for example, the agent takes more money than the person that is doing the actual job. And that is wrong, right?
Wow. Yeah, it certainly sounds like it. So yeah, you're really disrupting for the better.
For the better, absolutely, yes.
Yeah, we
hope so. We're trying.
Transparency is a big key in the process, obviously, and also anticipation of the transparency. The model will accept based on information that we give ahead. Very likely, we always take electronic payments. So the majority of our payments are electronic. So the turnaround in payment is pretty fast.
Yeah,
we do have some corporation that pay on terms. So we alert the talent in that way that has to wait a bit more. And so all this is done, in a way, we've built this product very much bottom up. So we try to understand the issue, the pain point, and then we address them. And, so very honestly, all these questions that the agencies were asking us about, how do you know if a client is legit? How do you know if a model is legit? How do you put the security on the model first? All these things that obviously are antagonistic question because they're challenging question. That's better to put. We obviously thought about all that. Just to give an example of something that where technology is actually better than the real life, the analogic life is, we have a SOS button for our talent. So whenever they are and they're working on a job that we booked, if they find themselves in a kind of any uncomfortable situation, which means really like, I don't feel very comfortable. I'm not speaking about anything mega. They can just press a button. We are alerted. We know immediately what's happening. We call the client. So, and this is, they don't have to do it at a big call or go in a corner or sorry, I have to call the agent. Just press a button, very discreetly, and we're alerted. So, we can actually make things like this even better and more secure. So when people say technology makes life sometimes not secure, it's not true. Technology can help also in security and safety.
Well, it certainly sounds like it. And as you say, it may be not something big, which of course you want to address, of course, straight away, but just situations where someone maybe feels uncomfortable or is being asked to do something that maybe they're not sure about or didn't expect.
Exactly. They don't know, maybe they don't know. They say, oh, wow, I thought it was a wedding dress. Now you asked me to put lingerie on.
Well,
yes.
We are dealing with, we're also dealing here with mostly younger, women, mainly women, that sometimes don't speak the language. So, we don't really expect them also. It's, sometimes it's really a question of being put in an uncomfortable position of where, you have 20 people around you, stylist, hair and makeup, client, photographer, and then they're like, oh, let's just shoot one topless picture. We're going to make it look really like this. And, if somebody's very young and insecure and thinks, okay, I don't know what's going to happen with my career if I refuse to do this. And say, you don't have to do anything now. Just press that button and we will, intervene and speak on your behalf and help you out.
Yeah, so a massive source of support and a kind of a safety net that if things get uncomfortable, you got somewhere to turn and you don't feel you have to go along with something just because.
We're very much behind. I mean, this is a platform, but behind the platform are people like in all platforms, and you know this very well, Glenn. That a lot of people perceive platforms as like a strange, cold entity. But
Absolutely.
maybe they forget to think that Airbnb has 6,000 people working for them. Uber has 22,000 people working for them. So there are people behind these things. They're not just, I'm there, I'm in the Bahamas and everything runs by itself.
Actually, we didn't imagine it this way. I thought, okay, we mimic this process and then we sit back and enjoy life.
Okay.
Then reality hits you because you do work with people, and when you work with people, you run into problems, and they're not always big problems, but they're constant. It's a constant problem solving, right? So, but that's also the fun part of the job, and I think, we have different roles in the company. My role, being a former model, is really also obviously I want to build a business, a successful business. But I also it's very important for me that there is some sustainability, social sustainability here.
Yeah.
You know, that the models are empowered, sounds like a big word, but that they're educated, that, you know, we follow them, we listen to them. We don't just see them as a source of income. You know, like I felt a lot with my agencies sometimes, not all of them, but, you know, often it's like, you're the money maker, but please don't talk too much.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So and we have a lot more time sometimes to do that because, you know, a lot of things are automated.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so we can sit and listen to problems and see how we can resolve them.
And this is this sort of inside out approach that, you know, seeing the firsthand some of the problems and the drawbacks and actually addressing them. And as you say, I think it's not taking it too far to say there's a societal impact here as well. It's actually making it better and it's empowering people. But I can imagine the traditional agencies are very scared and very threatened by this and probably want to do things to put barriers in your way to stop this expanding.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's actually funny how this changed. Of course, when we started, it was a bit like, I mean, I worked in this industry for 20 years, so I know most of these people.
Yeah.
And they were quite friendly, but like, oh my God, what an idea. This will never work.
Okay.
You know, obviously this will just never work because we are so important. We're doing such a good job here. We will never be replaced.
Yeah.
You know, and then they were, okay, let's give it 6 months, then they're going to be gone.
Okay.
Then we started to work and, you know, getting some attention. And, you know, I think in general, people do like us. The clients we have, they really like us. They come back, they say, wow, this is really a great experience. The models do like us as well. You know, they sometimes can't believe it's true that they are really, really, really paid after such a short period of time. And then they started to be threatened a little bit, obviously. So that is a problem for us. And it's, you know, they are throwing stones our way, or they have been in the past years. Trying to enforce exclusive contracts where they don't even have the right to do so. In some European countries like Germany, you can't enforce an exclusive contract on a model and then not make her work.
Right.
Yeah. So they have no income whatsoever. They don't know how to pay rent, but they tell them you cannot join a platform for complementary income.
Yeah.
So that's a huge problem.
Yeah, this is something that they do. You know, also bear in mind that this is a system that obviously is still the majority of work goes through traditional systems. So just we want to be clear with this. So we are really at the newcomer and the people are trying to change, and change take times. And it takes time for the various players to adjust. And when I say various players, I mean the models, of course. I also mean the clients, the brands that are the brands have to adjust to a new way of operating. Yeah. And the agencies as well, they have to understand that maybe there is a new player in the market. Also because there is a validity in what agencies do for sure. I mean, obviously, a lot of agencies are very good. They develop talent and something that is very important to remind. And so we see UBooker as a way of liberating the possibility, increased possibility for freelancers. Models are freelancers in the vast majority of any country in the world, to basically have a better career, make more money eventually, and understanding this is a career also that lasts not so long and does not have so much security because exactly as freelancer, and we speak about as a platform economy, is something that there is no safety net. So we just believe that, and Claudia say this all the time to make example, you know, at some point in the fashion industry along came Net-a-Porter. And obviously all the brick and mortar stores, Harrods and the big guys were worried. Well, now you have Harrods and the big guys and Net-a-Porter, and that is that's how things sometimes expand rather than detract from one another. So obviously we are a big advocate of industry expansion. I think there is a possibility to expand this industry and to be having new players. So it's not necessarily that it's us or them. I think there's a role that has to be respected, but we got a bit of a pushback for sure.
Yeah.
Which is very normal. And it's also very normal to understand there is a time, and as an expert in platform and marketplaces like you, time is important, because a lot of people don't know that big platforms, like very successful platform today that everybody knows, maybe started 15 years ago. And they probably started when they actually found out. This is a psychological way of thinking that if I find out something, it was born yesterday. No, you found out today, but it was born 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And so this is something that we have to understand. It will take some time. We have to be a bit patient, and it's sometimes not easy for all the ways that things go, financial and stuff. But we know what we have to do, and that's the most important thing.
Well, definitely. And it seems to really sort of tap into, as you say, sort of the traditional sort of modeling sector into more influencers and sort of the rise of social media. We see sort of the traditional model sector, as you say, being disrupted. There's more influencers, and it's based on, you know, not sort of the proportions and the specific sort of way you look, as more what's your following, what do you stand for, what do you speak about. It is as important as the looks element in sort of choosing the talent for a lot of brands.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's moving more and more in that direction. I mean, if you look even at the latest shows, it's all about the influencers. Huh?
Right.
So it's just very important today to be agile and to be able to change quickly. And I think something we saw with COVID, for example, we actually saw a change in that, because I think even the traditional brick and mortar agencies understood in that moment where everything came to a stop and they had to send people home, their business was totally down. I mean, not that ours was blooming, flourishing, because we are dependent on that sector that is producing, you know, doing e-commerce, showrooms, lookbooks, and so on. But we could, I mean, the day after we left our office, we were set up with the entire team ready to work, which was a huge opportunity for us also to get new clients on. So they didn't all start booking immediately, because it was, in the beginning, was a disaster between, you know, cancellations, nobody could fly out, but we could operate normally and efficiently. And so I think a lot of people in general kind of opened up to technology a little bit more during that time. Right. You know, instead of seeing it as something threatening and something that will eventually make them redundant, because I think the bottom line is that people think that they will be redundant. If I start using this, one day they're going to replace me. So this is that area of, you know, maybe I don't want to use this. And so I see a little bit more like cozying up here, like agencies reaching out saying, oh, how did you resolve this? It would be interesting to see the platform. So which is great, because we are all about collaborations and opportunities for everyone. Excellent. And in the beginning, I really thought that, you know, UBooker was not there to replace the agent, but maybe to be, you know, complementary income. Like a lot of people in the gig economy do today. You know, they maybe have a part-time job somewhere, and then they have complementary jobs through some platforms, you know, like, you know, web designers. And so I think, you know, this might also change.
Yeah, it does require a bit of adaptation for sure for all the players. And I tell you that, you know, brands and clients, obviously, they also have to adapt internally, because they have been using a system, and the mid-management that is using the system is very happy to eventually use the system, because they know it. And it's like anything, before you switch to something new, it takes time, because you need to know there are leaders, there are followers, there are people that start earlier and then you know, show the way to the others that are a bit more shy or reluctant to use new things. And this is normal. And there are relationships also, to be very honest with you, that are within brands and agencies, for example, that are good relationship of work. So all this is a part of an establishment that has been there for a long, long time. And so now here we come, you know, trying to disrupt this. Well, absolutely possible, doable, will be done. And at the same time, I think we have to understand that this is require quite some pressure, of course. So this is a setup for everybody. I think that all the big disruptors went through, in the respective industries, went through these phases.
Absolutely.
We spoke with people at Airbnb, the Airbnb people, and they told us that, you know, they were at some point found themselves like in Times Square in New York giving out flyers for Airbnb to see, because it was like so often so new, the concept, that people were like, oh, in a stranger house, are you kidding me? My house to a stranger? And now it's like, oh, everybody. So it's normal. I think we have to come to the piece that this is a bit of an effort that it takes time, and you know it because you work with so many platforms.
Yeah, but it's exactly the same story and exactly the same journey, as you say. You know, whether it's food delivery, taxis, or Airbnb. You know, all the traditional sectors. They first of all they say that'll never work. Then they say this is terrible. We have to kill it. It's going to destroy the world. It's going to put people out of jobs. And then it becomes through to acceptance and the way in which this is going to be sort of part of the system, along with the new platforms and the traditional operators, who of course have to adapt as well to the new reality. But I think it's just fantastic what you're doing, how you're using technology, and the really positive benefits from a societal impact sector as well. So it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the program. And Claudia, Nicola, look to hear more about what's happening and have you back soon on this.
Fantastic. We're glad. Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.